Using demonstration as a learning activity. This is part 4 in the Teaching Methods series. I'm Dr. Grady Roberts from the University of Florida. We'll cover 3 essential questions in this presentation. 1. What is a demonstration? 2. How does a demonstration relate to learning modalities and to Dale's Cone of Experience? And 3. How do you effectively deliver a demonstration? First, let's define what a demonstration is. Talbert, Vaughan, and Croom said that a definition of a demonstration is a teaching process that involves showing students how to do something before they do it themselves. So it's all about showing the students how to do something. If we go back to our taxonomy of learning activities that was presented in an earlier part of this series, you notice that demonstration is on the left-hand side of the model underneath the teacher-centered activities. So it primarily involves the instructor giving information to the students. If we look at learning modalities, a demonstration most typically appeals to visual learners because they can watch you do something, and auditory learners because they can listen to you explain how it works. If we think about Dale's Cone of Experience, a demonstration falls right in the middle of the cone, watching a demonstration. So it's about halfway between something that's very abstract and something that's very concrete. It's concrete in that the students are seeing you do something that's real, but it's somewhat abstract in that they are only watching you. They are not doing it themselves. So let's take a look at just a minute for what makes a good demonstration. First, you need to look at the procedures. You need to assemble all your materials. You need to develop a felt need for why it's important that the students learn to do whatever it is that you are showing. You need to give an overview. Then you need to present each step in detail, repeat difficult to understand steps, and then repeat the entire process. And so by following these procedures, you will show your students at least 3 times how to do the demonstration. You'll do it very quickly in step 3 when you're giving an overview. You'll do it in great detail in step 4 when you're presenting each step, and then you'll do it again in detail, repeating the entire process in step 6. During each step, there's some important things for you to address. 1. Carefully define how each step is performed. 2. Explain why it's needed, so why is that step important. 3. Explain what it accomplishes. And 4. What important safety points need to be understood and remembered. And so for each step, how it's performed, why it's needed, what it accomplishes, and if there's particular safety aspects that need to be addressed, make sure that you talk about those as well. Some helpful hints. A handout that outlines the steps with key points is very helpful, and so I would encourage you to develop a handout to use with your demonstration. And then a demonstration is typically followed by some sort of an application or practice of that procedure. And so the way the process would typically work, you would show the students how to do it, and then you would have them actually do it later. Some key things to consider. 1. Position the demonstration so that everyone can see. And so as you're deciding in the classroom where you want to conduct your demonstration, do it in a way that maximizes the amount of students that are able to really see it, what you're doing. Second, make it as real as possible. So think about classroom, lab, or in the field. And so whenever practical and possible, demonstrate what you're going to do in a real setting. Third point, remember that you're facing the students, and so they're going to see a mirror image of what you're doing. So what's on your left is on their right, what's on your right is on their left, and so keep that into consideration. Fourth, break it down into very simple steps. Remember, your students are not as experienced as you are, so something that might make intuitive sense to you and you can just skip through a couple of steps, as beginning learners, they are not going to be able to do that. So break it into very simple steps. Some key points to remember. A demonstration is to show how to do something. So it's going to go through a process of how to do something. It must have some steps. Now, if what you are planning to demonstrate has some industry validated steps, by all means, that's what you should use. If it doesn't have that, then you as the instructor should feel obligated to come up with the steps. And so you should have step 1, step 2, step 3, and so forth. A handout can be very helpful, and so I encourage you to develop a handout to accompany your demonstration. Second point, practice the demonstration ahead of time. You want to make sure that you can very easily and comfortably go through the process in front of the students. Third point, as a follow-up learning activity, have the students practice. This could be done as a group activity in cooperative learning or as an individual activity as individual application. So going back to our essential questions, we talked about what is a demonstration, and a demonstration is showing the students how to do something. We talked about how does it relate to learning modalities in Dale's Cone, and it relates to your visual learners and your auditory learners. And on Dale's Cone, it's about right in the middle. And we talked about how do you effectively deliver a demonstration. You're going to quickly go through the process with them once, then you're going to go through the process very slowly, explaining each step, and then you're going to demonstrate it a third time, making sure they understand all the key points. So I hope now you have a general idea of how to deliver an effective demonstration. If you need further information, here's my contact information. I'd be glad to help you in any way I can. I hope you have a great day. Thanks.